Children of the Gods wasn't just a pilot episode that launched a 10-season sci-fi phenomenon. It was a production nightmare where film stock arrived scratched. Actors froze until their lips quivered unusable, network executives demanded nudity that the actress never consented to, and a massive set had to be built, dismantled, and rebuilt, all while burning money like kindling to meet an impossible summer deadline. Behind that shimmering Stargate and those pristine military uniforms, chaos erupted. An actress cried after being forced into wardrobe she never agreed to. Composers hated the music so much they removed their names from it. The entire first day of footage was destroyed, and a network decision made for male audiences would haunt the franchise for decades, turning a family show into something parents had to hide from their kids. Here are 20 weird facts about Children of the Gods that reveal the truth behind Stargate Command's first mission. And stick around for the bonus fact, because what happened to one actress between signing her contract and seeing the final cut is one of Hollywood's ugliest stories. Let's activate Stargate. Number 20, the actress was tricked into nudity. She never consented to Vaitiar Bandera signs on to play Shar, Daniel Jackson's wife. She's told there will be a scene showing her character's possession by a Goa'uld parasite. The script indicates nudity, but producers assure her, "We'll shoot it from angles that keep you covered. She'll be topless on set, but the camera work will protect her." Bandera agrees. She wants this role desperately. She'd unsuccessfully auditioned for the 1994 Stargate film and isn't letting this opportunity slip away. Filming wraps. Then comes a betrayal. Showtime executives review the footage and demand changes. They want full-frontal nudity. Not just topless, but complete exposure. Neither Bandera nor producer Brad Wright are informed of this decision until after production ends. Bandera is forced to re-sign a contract authorizing use of footage she never agreed to shoot. The scene airs with full frontal nudity, earning the pilot an R rating and separating it from every other episode of the series. Decades later, Bandera finally speaks about it publicly. She turned down roles opposite Mel Gibson specifically to avoid nudity because it made her nervous. This time, she was promised protection. Instead, she got exploitation. Number 19. The female lead cried after being handed a push-up bra. Amanda Tapping arrives for her first wardrobe fitting as Captain Samantha Carter. She's playing a brilliant astrophysicist and military officer, a character defined by competence, not sexuality. The wardrobe department hands her a push-up bra and a tiny tank top. Tapping panics. "I thought, oh my god, they cast the wrong person." She later recalls, "I'm not that, and this character isn't that, and if they wanted a blonde booby bombshell, they cast the wrong girl." She's supposed to model the outfit for executive producers. She refuses. The experience devastates her. She cries. The character she thought she was playing, the professional scientist breaking into a male-dominated field, suddenly feels like a cheap male fantasy. Tapping fights back. She makes clear this isn't who Carter is. The producers listen. They abandon the sexualized wardrobe. Carter becomes the professional, fully clothed officer Tapping signed on to play. But the fact that anyone thought a push-up bra belonged on a military scientist reveals exactly what Showtime wanted from this pilot. They weren't interested in competent women. They wanted eye candy. Tapping refused to deliver it. Number 18. The entire first day of filming was destroyed. February 18th, 1997. First day of principal photography. The cast and crew film exterior scenes on location in the North Shore Mountains of Vancouver, British Columbia, standing in for the alien planet Teal'c. It's February. In the mountains. The weather is brutal. Heavy rain, freezing temperatures, brutal wind. Richard Dean Anderson and the young cast push through, filming scene after scene despite conditions that have people questioning whether the whole series will be this miserable. Production wraps for the day. The next morning, dailies arrive. There's a massive scratch running vertically down the center of the entire day's footage. Every frame. Unusable. Director Mario Azzopardi retreats to his trailer, closes the windows, and, as he later admits, swears extensively. Then he composes himself, asks for coffee, and figures out what's next. With 1997 technology, there's no easy fix. They have two options. Reshoot everything, burning precious time and money, or work around it using alternate takes and angles they wouldn't have chosen otherwise. They choose the latter. For 12 years, that scratch haunts the pilot. In 2009, when producer Brad Wright revisits the episode for the final cut, he spends $35,000 on digital repair to finally rescue the footage they wanted. Number 17, it was so cold. The lead actor's dialogue was unusable. Christopher Judge stands in costume as Teal'c on that freezing February mountainside. He's wearing the elaborate Jaffa armor, designed for visual impact, not warmth. The temperature plummets. Rain soaks everything. Judge delivers his lines, playing the stoic warrior with absolute professionalism. The crew watches, impressed. Then they see the footage. Judge's lips are quivering so violently from the cold that his dialogue is unusable. His entire first day of work, gone. Not because of the film scratch, because British Columbia in February doesn't care about production schedules. Judge has to come back and reshoot everything. 12 years later, when Brad Wright creates the final cut, Judge goes even further. He re-records every single line of dialogue he speaks in the entire pilot. Wright wants continuity with the character Teal'c becomes in later seasons. More confident, more vocal, more nuanced than the barely speaking warrior in the pilot. Judge agrees. He spends hours in a recording booth, replacing all his dialogue with new performances that better match the character's evolution. The result is bizarre. Teal'c's voice in the final cut comes from 2009, while everyone else's comes from 1997. Nobody notices unless you're told. Number 16, the MacGyver line that won her. The role was improvised. Amanda Tapping auditions for the role of Captain Samantha Carter. The character is introduced, explaining how Stargate Command's dialing system works. It's exposition-heavy, technical dialogue, the kind that can kill a scene if delivered poorly. Tapping reaches the line about how they developed the system. On the page, it's straightforward. It took us 15 years and 3 supercomputers to develop a system for the gate on Earth. Tapping improvises. She changes one word. MacGyver. The line becomes, it took us 15 years and 3 supercomputers to MacGyver a system for the gate on Earth. The casting directors explode with laughter. Richard Dean Anderson, sitting in on the audition, is the former star of MacGyver. The reference is perfect. It's funny, it's clever, it's the exact kind of pop culture awareness that makes Carter feel real. That single improvised word clinches Tapping the role. The line stays in the final episode, becoming one of the pilot's most memorable moments. Later, for the 2009 final cut, someone removes it and replaces it with jury rig. Worried that the reference is too on the nose or that it dates the episode, fans hate the change. The MacGyver line embodied everything great about Carter. Brilliant, confident, and possessing a sense of humor about the absurdity of their situation. Number 15, 3 strangers became best friends in a hotel, and it shows. Amanda Tapping, Michael Shanks, and Christopher Judge don't know each other before filming begins. They've relocated to Vancouver for the production, all staying in the same hotel. They're young actors, gambling their careers on a sci-fi show that might fail spectacularly. So they spend every moment together. After long shooting days, they hang out in the hotel, they eat meals together, they explore Vancouver together, they become friends, genuine, close friends, before the pilot even wraps. That friendship translates directly to screen. The chemistry between Carter, Daniel, and Teal'c in later seasons doesn't come from acting technique or skilled writing. It comes from real affection, inside jokes, and comfort that developed during those early weeks when 3 strangers became a family. Years later, all 3 credit the hotel time as the foundation of SG-1's success. Audiences could sense the authenticity. These weren't actors pretending to be a team, they were friends who happened to be acting. The best character relationships on television often work this way. You can't fake years of friendship, but if you give actors time together before cameras roll, something real develops. Showtime inadvertently created SG-1's secret weapon by making 3 people live in the same hotel during the toughest production of their lives. Number 14, the set had to be built twice because the building wasn't finished. Stargate Command set, the massive gate room, control room, and corridors, is supposed to be built on stages 5 and 6 at the Bridge Studios in Vancouver. There's one problem. Those stages are still under construction. They won't be ready in time. But Showtime has set a summer launch date, and MGM is backing into a deadline with no flexibility. Production designer Richard Houdelin and construction coordinator Tom Wells make the expensive decision. Build the entire Stargate Command, set inside the effects stage, shoot the pilot, then dismantle everything and rebuild it in the permanent location 2 months later. It's financially catastrophic. As Brad Wright later describes it, that's like taking money, setting it on fire and watching it burn. It's like re-roofing your house. It looks just the same when you're done and you're poor. They're literally building, destroying, and rebuilding a major television set. all to hit a network deadline. The per episode budget is already tight. This pilot specific disaster consumes money that could have gone toward effects, props, or additional shooting days. But there's no alternative. Showtime wants a summer premiere. The building isn't finished, so they burn the budget and hope the series lasts long enough to justify it. Number 13. They got greenlit for 2 seasons before anyone saw the pilot. Most television pilots get filmed, tested, evaluated, and then maybe, if executives feel confident, ordered to series. Children of the Gods never goes through that process. MGM greenlights Stargate SG-1 for 2 full seasons before the pilot airs. That's 44 episodes guaranteed, regardless of whether the pilot is good or whether audiences respond. It's an extraordinary vote of confidence and enormous pressure. If the pilot fails to impress, there's going to be a very unhappy studio realizing they've committed tens of millions of dollars to a show nobody wants to watch. The cast and crew know this. Every problem, the scratched film, the freezing weather, the budget overruns, carries extra weight because failure isn't an option. They've already been renewed. They have to succeed. Fortunately, Children of the Gods becomes Showtime's highest rated series debut when it airs July 27th, 1997. The gamble pays off, but for everyone involved in production, knowing they'd been greenlit before proving themselves added tremendous pressure to an already difficult shoot. Most shows get to prove their worth continuing. SG-1 had to prove the continuation decision was right. Number 12. The composer hated the music so much he removed his name. Joel Goldsmith composes an original score for Children of the Gods. He creates music specifically designed for television sci-fi, sweeping, adventurous, with hints of the Egyptian themes from the 1994 film. 40 minutes of original composition. Then Showtime makes a decision. They take Goldsmith's score and mix it with David Arnold's music from the theatrical film. The result is a Frankenstein hybrid, 2 different composers, 2 different styles, competing for attention in the same scenes. Both Goldsmith and Arnold are horrified. Goldsmith calls the mixed score horrible and affirms it was made against their wishes. Both composers remove their names from the pilot. The interlaced mix is so bad that when the soundtrack gets released on CD in November 1997, it's credited to nobody. 12 years later, one of Brad Wright's main motivations for creating the final cut is fixing this musical disaster. He convinces MGM to strip out Arnold's film score and restore Goldsmith's original music, the 40 minutes that had never properly been heard. Goldsmith has to slightly rework his score and create new cues to match Wright's re-edit, but finally the pilot has the music it was supposed to have all along. Number 11. The show's biggest mistake was learning your boyfriend is now evil. From a script in a van, Alexis Cruz reprises his role as Skara from the 1994 film. He's excited. His character was a hero in the movie, a young man who helped save Abydos. Cruz has no idea what the series has planned. Production flies him to Vancouver. Someone picks him up at the airport to drive him to his hotel. In the van, they hand him the script. Cruz opens it and starts reading. His character gets possessed by a Goa old named Chlorel. Skara, the hero, becomes a villain. Cruz's reaction: mind blown, nervous and concerned and scared, like, what am I going to do with this? Cruz had spent years developing a careful, deliberate characterization of Skara as a heroic figure. Now, that's being uprooted, as he describes it. He doesn't know how to play possessed Skara. He's angry and hurt that nobody warned him. This isn't a creative conversation in pre-production. It's a surprise in a van. Cruz later admits, there was a moment where it stung. He makes it work. His performance as Chloral is genuinely chilling. But the fact that an actor learned his character's fate from a script handed to him during an airport pickup reveals the chaotic nature of early SG-1 production. Number 10. The pilot cost. Over 240 special effects, and they still looked cheap. Over 240 special effects shots appear in the original cut of Children of the Gods. The post-production team works from when filming wraps in mid-March straight through until July. 4 months of intensive VFX work before the premiere. Stargate activations, death gliders, staff weapon blasts, Goa old possession effects, alien worlds. Every frame demands digital work, but the per-episode budget is tight and the pilot's cost overruns mean there's less money for effects than they need. The result is visible. The death glider sequence in particular looks rough, combining new footage with recycled shots from the 1994 film in ways that don't quite match. Some Goa'uld effects feel unfinished. Viewers notice. Reviews mention that while the special effects are ambitious, they're not quite up to theatrical standards. This sets a pattern for the series. SG-1 will always be visually ambitious but budget constrained, finding creative ways to tell big stories with television money. The pilot establishes this. They're swinging for feature film spectacle on a TV budget, and sometimes it works brilliantly, and sometimes you can see exactly where they ran out of money. Number 9. The show's star was dating his wife's character and she got pregnant. Michael Shanks plays Dr. Daniel Jackson. Vaitiare Bandera plays Shar, Daniel's wife. Off-screen, Shanks and Bandera are in a real relationship. The on-screen chemistry between Daniel and Shar isn't acting. It's actual romantic connection between two people who are together. Then, Bandera gets pregnant with Shanks' child. The show writes Shar as carrying Apophis's Goa'uld son. Bandera is simultaneously pregnant in real life and playing a character pregnant with an alien parasite. The parallel is both convenient and disturbing. The relationship adds another layer to the tragedy of Shar's possession. When Daniel searches desperately for his wife throughout the series, Shanks is searching for someone he genuinely loves. When he finally loses Shar permanently in Season 3, it mirrors the end of their real relationship. Shanks later marries Lexa Doig, who plays Dr. Carolyn Lamb in Seasons 9 and 10. The Daniel Shire storyline becomes the emotional core of early SG-1. The reason it works so powerfully is because the actors aren't pretending. The love is real. The loss is real. Audiences feel it because it's authentic. Number 8. The pilot was the only episode rated R, and it haunts the show forever. Children of the Gods receives an R rating from the MPAA. In the UK, it's rated 18, the highest possible classification. It's the only episode of Stargate SG-1's 214 episode run with an adult rating. Every other episode is rated PG or TV-14. The R rating comes entirely from Shar's full-frontal nudity scene. That one network-mandated decision creates problems for decades. When SG-1 moves from Showtime to Sci-Fi Channel in 2002, the show becomes family-friendly. Parents watch with their kids. Young girls get inspired to pursue STEM careers because of Sam Carter. The show builds a reputation as appropriate for older children and teens. Then Netflix starts streaming SG-1 in 2020. They list it as TVMA, mature audiences only. Parents who remember the show as family-friendly are shocked. They check the rating and refuse to let their kids watch. The TVMA rating comes entirely from the pilot. One scene, one network decision, 23 years later. The controversy prompts Brad Wright to create the final cut specifically to remove the nudity and restore the show's family-friendly reputation. But the damage lingers. The Showtime version still exists. Some streaming services still carry it, and families still stumble across the R-rated version when they expect wholesome sci-fi. Number 7. The General was played by a real Vietnam veteran. Don S. Davis plays Major General George Hammond, the commanding officer of Stargate Command. Davis isn't just acting military, he lived it. He's a Vietnam veteran who served in the U.S. Army before becoming an actor. His career built on playing authority figures, Major Garland Briggs in Twin Peaks, Captain William Scully, Dana Scully's father in The X-Files. He understands military bearing because he earned it. Davis brings authentic command presence to Hammond. The way he stands, the way he gives orders, the way he carries himself, it's not performance, it's muscle memory. After Children of the Gods, Davis pushed producers to humanize Hammond beyond the hard-ass commander the pilot presents. He wanted to show the general as a grandfather, a leader who cares about his people, someone who makes tough decisions but agonizes over them. The character evolves into one of the series' most beloved figures because Davis insisted on depth. At a convention panel, Davis is asked what other character he'd want to play. His response? I would play my own role since I had the best chair on the set. When Hammond returns in Season 8 after being promoted away from the SGC, Davis makes sure to take that chair with him when he boards the Prometheus. Some actors embody their roles so completely that they become inseparable. Davis was Hammond, and Hammond was Davis. Number 6. The network wanted Edge, but got a family show. Instead, Showtime is premium cable, home to The Tudors, Dexter, adult content that pushes boundaries. When they greenlight Stargate SG-1, they want edgy sci-fi for mature audiences. The nudity in the pilot isn't an accident. It's strategy. Showtime thinks sex and violence attract male viewers, but Children of the Gods proves immediately that SG-1 works better as adventure than exploitation. After the first week, The mature content disappears completely. No more nudity, no excessive violence, no profanity. The show finds its voice as clever, character-driven sci-fi with humor and heart. When SG-1 moves to Sci-Fi Channel in 2002, the transition is seamless because the show already stopped being what Showtime wanted. The final 9 seasons cement SG-1's identity. Smart, funny, occasionally moving, always entertaining, and appropriate for families. Showtime wanted edge. Wright and Glassner gave them something better, a show that didn't need shock value because the stories were good enough. The pilot's adult content becomes an embarrassing relic of network interference, not a reflection of what SG-1 was meant to be. Number 5. They shot on 16mm film. In an era moving to digital Children of the Gods shoots on 16mm film in 1997, just as television production begins. Transitioning to digital formats, 16mm is cheaper than 35mm but still provides decent image quality for television broadcast. The decision is purely budgetary. MGM wants to produce SG-1 as affordably as possible while maintaining acceptable visual standards. But shooting film creates a scratched footage problem on day one. Film stock is physical, vulnerable, and unforgiving. If something goes wrong during processing or transport, the damage is permanent. Digital would have avoided this entirely. The 16mm choice also limits the show's future. When high-definition television arrives, SG-1's early seasons look soft and dated compared to shows shot on better formats. The final cut in 2009 can only upscale 16mm so far. The resolution ceiling is baked in. Later seasons switch to better cameras as technology improves and budgets allow, but the pilot's 16mm origins are visible forever. It's a reminder that television production is always a compromise between artistic ambition and financial reality. Sometimes those compromises leave permanent marks. Number 4. The show never cracked. Nielsen's top 30, but Ron 10 seasons. During Children of the Gods' original broadcast and throughout SG-1's entire Showtime run, the show never breaks into Nielsen's top 30 ratings. It's solidly successful, but not a blockbuster. When it moves to Sci-Fi Channel, it performs well enough to keep getting renewed, but never dominates. By traditional metrics, SG-1 is a moderate success, yet it runs for 10 seasons and 214 episodes, longer than almost any sci-fi series in history. It spawns 2 spin-offs, Stargate Atlantis and Stargate Universe, and 2 direct-to-DVD movies. The franchise generates hundreds of millions in revenue. How does a show that never wins the ratings game survive so long? SG-1 builds an intensely loyal fan base. Viewers don't just watch, they commit, they buy DVDs, attend conventions, engage online. The show becomes profitable through consistency and devotion rather than explosive popularity. Children of the Gods sets this pattern. It doesn't need to be the biggest show on television. It needs to be good enough that people keep coming back. For 10 seasons, that strategy works perfectly. Number 3. The producer wondered if the show was jinxed on day one. Writer and producer Jonathan Glassner stands in freezing rain on a British Columbia mountainside on February 18, 1997. It's the first day of filming. The weather is catastrophic. Wind tears through the location. Rain soaks everyone. The temperature makes proper filming nearly impossible. Equipment malfunctions. Actors shiver between takes. The crew wonders if every episode will be this miserable, and then the scratched film arrives. Glassner's thought, is this series jinxed? It's not superstition. It's reasonable concern that maybe launching a sci-fi series in Vancouver in February was a terrible decision. Maybe the production challenges are insurmountable. Maybe they should have waited for better weather or chosen different locations. But there's no time to second guess. Showtime wants summer premiere. They have 24 days to shoot the pilot. Day one is a disaster, but they have 23 more chances to get it right. Glassner and the crew push through. The jinx theory fades. By the time filming wraps, they've captured enough good footage to cut together a pilot. Barely, but enough. Sometimes the worst first day becomes the best origin story. Number 2. A decade later, the creator spent his own time. Fixing his biggest regret after SG-1 ends its 10-season run, Brad Wright can't let go of one thing. Children of the Gods isn't what he wanted it to be. The nudity embarrasses him. The mixed musical score sounds wrong. The scratched film footage haunts him. The pacing feels off. He knows there's a better version of the pilot buried in the original dailies. So, Wright pitches MGM on revisiting the episode. He convinces them to fund a re-edit, restoration, and remastering. Wright brings in longtime SG-1 editor Brad Rines. They pull apart the pilot and rebuild it. They remove the nudity. They restore Joel Goldsmith's original score. They spend $35,000 repairing the scratched film. They reorder scenes. They cut entire sequences. They add footage that never made the original cut. They ask cast members to re-record dialogue for better continuity. The result is Children of the Gods, final cut released in 2009. Some fans love it, others hate it, accusing Wright of sanitizing the show's history. But Wright doesn't care about fan debates. He cares about fixing his biggest regret. The final cut is his definitive version, the pilot he wanted to make in 1997 but couldn't because of weather, budget, and network interference. Number 1. The show's success meant the pilot's problems didn't matter. Every problem with Children of the Gods, the nudity controversy, the scratched film, the freezing weather, the budget overruns, the musical disaster becomes irrelevant the moment the pilot airs. July 27, 1997, Showtime's highest rated series debut. Audiences love it. The chemistry between Richard Dean Anderson, Amanda Tapping, Michael Shanks, and Christopher Judge clicks immediately. The premise of exploring the galaxy through an ancient alien device captures imagination. The blend of military action, mythology, and character drama works. Children of the Gods succeeds despite its production disasters, not because everything went smoothly. The scratched film, the uncomfortable wardrobe fittings, the freezing mountainside, none of it matters to viewers. They see the final product and want more. The green light for 2 seasons turns into 10. The pilot that almost drowned in February rain becomes the foundation of a franchise worth hundreds of millions. Sometimes the most troubled productions create the biggest successes. The obstacles don't doom you. How you respond to them does. Wright, Glassner, and the entire SG-1 team refused to let disasters define them. They pushed through and delivered something special. Children of the Gods sold audiences on adventure through the stars, but behind the scenes, it was chaos. Frozen actors, destroyed film stock, unwanted nudity, and financial decisions that looked like controlled burns. The network wanted mature content. The producers wanted a family adventure. The cast wanted respect. The weather wanted to destroy everything. But somehow, from that February disaster on a freezing mountainside, with scratched film and quivering lips and violated contracts, they created something that lasted 10 seasons and changed science fiction television. The show that almost killed itself on day 1 became one of the medium's most enduring franchises. The pilot everyone wanted to fix became the foundation nobody could forget. The legacy isn't the problems. It's the fact that they survived them. Sometimes, the best television comes from teams that refuse to let disasters win. Children of the Gods proved that production nightmares don't determine a show's fate. Quality does. And despite everything that went wrong in 1997, they delivered quality. If you learned something about the show you thought you knew, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me which fact shocked you most. And remember, in television production, as through Stargate, you never know what's waiting on the other side. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.